Hi, you're listening to the Aficionerdo podcast. I'm Elaine Eightbytes.
And I'm David Moulton.
Welcome to Aficionerdo number 9. We're going to jump right into it. David, have you been nerding out lately?
Oh, Elaine, have I been nerding out lately? It seems like a ridiculous question because I never, ever not nerd out. So let's get started.
Yes, let's talk about it. Talk about your nerdy ways. What have you been nerding out on? I want to.
Well, it's been there's a lot of things that happened since the last time we talked, and there's a lot of things include me seeing Iron Man 3, which I loved.
I loved it too.
It was so good. It was like if that's the end of the trilogy, like it ended great to me. I don't know what you think, but like I could be okay with seeing him, like if they only do him as guesting in other movies. I think I'm okay with that. I mean, like it ended in a way where it wasn't like there needs to be another movie to like tie things up or anything like that. Like it was okay. So
yeah, they concluded his business a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And the villains and stuff, even as a diehard comic fan, like I was okay with what they did with the Mandarin. So
this is what I hear from people who read the comic and were familiar with that particular villain.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So going in and just experiencing these characters in just a movie format I find the Iron Man 3 to be acceptable. You know?
Yeah.
Very, very good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Mandarin is just such a hard character to do no matter what. I mean, I think that if they would have tried to stay loyal to him, it would have been so hard to pull off.
I've been told this as well. It has something to do with all his rings of power.
Yeah, he's just like pure magic, which is like
magic.
Yeah, which is like the antithesis of Iron Man. That's like all about science and everything. So it would have been hard to pull off in his storyline. But anyway, so
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think I know your answer, but I'll be amused to hear your answer regardless. Who would win in a fight, Jerk Spider-Man or the Mandarin?
Jerk Spider-Man or the Mandarin? So yeah. Which Mandarin? The movie Mandarin or
Let's go with the movie Mandarin, not the one that's made of pure magic, I guess.
Man, Jerk Spider-Man.
Jerk Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Would just hurt his feelings.
Even if you just took it down to like dance moves, Jerk Spider-Man like already has a head up there.
Okay. All right, because I don't know, movie Mandarin was pretty fearsome. I mean, he was melting things, and yet his shirt did not catch on fire.
No, Mandarin didn't melt anything.
He kind of melted some metal, didn't he?
No, well, the Mandarin was just the actor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. See, this is now I feel vulnerable because I thought the Mandarin was the guy who was catching things on fire.
Well, he was the guy controlling, like he was the one doing all the stuff, but the Mandarin per se was just a figurehead. Then
guy who's the villain? What villain was that if he was not the Mandarin?
His name is Aldrich Killian.
Oh.
He just his name.
It's just his name.
Yeah, it's an extension of the Extremis storyline.
I see.
Which is very similar. But yeah, you're right. His shirt didn't catch on fire, and he.
That was one thing. Like every time they started doing things, or like, not that I would want Piper to suddenly not have her clothing in the movie or anything like that, but you know, like when they started doing all that stuff, I'm like, why do they still have hair? Why do they have clothes that don't, like, they are extremely hot people. They shouldn't be able to keep anything organic. I mean, maybe their skin and maybe even their hair by extension. Sure, but like clothes? I don't know about that. Did the clothes suddenly get injected with super I don't know.
I like
super goo.
super goo.
Yeah.
I like when he was breathing fire, like immediately afterwards, he's just like, "You breathe fire?"
Yeah.
And like that's the only thing they say about it.
Well, that's part of what made that movie pretty great. I guess I shouldn't talk about too many of the punchlines because it's possible that somebody listening to this still hasn't watched it. And since it's such a good movie, you should just go see that if that's
Yeah.
you. If I'm talking to you, you need to go probably pause this and go to the movie theater quickly before it's not there. Just
Yeah.
go. Just go. Come
Iron
back.
Man 3 is great. It's hard to. I mean, as a fan of comic books, I didn't find much fault with it.
Okay.
It was acceptable. And the big thing right now is Iron Man versus Star Trek, and
What do
I
you
know
think?
you haven't seen Star Trek, so I won't talk about the movie.
No. Cumberbatch.
Other than, yeah, Cumberbutt, isn't it? I love that nickname. uh, it's amazing. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I'm just like
You can
really
spoil
happy
this
with
for
it.
me. How
What's that?
how was the lens flare?
The lens flare, it was fine. And lens flare never really bothered me all that much
Mm-hmm.
until like later, watching it over and over again. But
Right.
when we walked out, like a lot of people were like, I felt like there was less lens flare scenes, but the scenes where there was lens flare, the lens flare was more intense.
It was lens flare-tastic. It was
Yeah,
intense lens flare.
yeah,
On the bridge, I'm assuming, of the ship is where it seemed like the shiniest of places.
right.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
This movie succeeded in surprising me, although, I mean, I saw the surprise coming within the first, like, 25 minutes of the movie or whatever, before it was revealed, the surprise.
You're still surprised by it?
I was because there were so many things saying that they were not going to do this, and so many things that made me, like, that established that this wasn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
That when even though it was building up, I was like, how can this not be? And I was like, well, they said they're not doing it, and this is a new universe, so maybe they're going to come up with something else
Mm-hmm.
that kind of relates to this. And then
They did
when
it anyway.
yeah, and it surprised me, not like, oh my god, I didn't expect that, but more like, whoa, they really went there. And then I was happy with it. So
Good. I'm looking forward to it. I personally won't be able to see it until June. But since we're not recording anyway, again until June, maybe I'll be able to talk about it on our next recording.
yeah,
So
yeah, I'm sure we'll have a lot to say.
yeah, and then I guess that gives everybody else a heads up because I'm not going to be able to hold back about this film. I can feel this because of everything that I've seen about it and all its pretty colors. I'm going to want to talk about it. So
Nice.
that's
Well,
full warning.
yeah, the next episode will probably be fairly heavy Star Trek related.
Yes,
So,
probably.
but if you can't wait till then, I'm going to be a guest on the Sci-Fi Diner podcast to talk about Star
Ooh.
Trek.
Yeah.
So I will let everyone know when that's coming out.
Good.
So
Definitely let everybody know.
yeah.
We want to know.
So moving on, I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. You and I were talking before the show, and I mentioned how since our gaming health episode, I've been kind of, when I play games, I think about how much time I'm playing, just out of curiosity, because I know I felt like maybe I was lowballing it when I said I played for like an hour a week or something when we were doing that episode. I had a conversation with Thungan about that. But anyway, so I've been keeping track, and since we recorded that episode, I've played just over 3 hours of video games.
That was 2 months ago.
Total. This is total. And I can't believe it. I was like, I thought I played games like more than that. I can't.
You think about games, maybe? You
Yeah,
appreciate games, but
I appreciate, I think about, and I follow like the culture.
Mhm.
But I just don't have the time or brain energy to do it. Like when I have free time.
yeah, no, it's a choice. And
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a little bit later on in the show we can talk about time, but I'm totally with you, and I think it's kind of funny that over 2 months, even though you know a whole lot about games or nerd culture, you only played 3 hours a game. I think I might send some people into a coma. Like, not enough games.
There are games I want to play that I just like and I'll open up Steam and I'll be like, I should play, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Netflix, how you doing today?
Netflix, you're just so easy for
Yeah,
half an hour of entertainment needs.
right,
It's true. So
right.
how do you like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood?
I'm liking it because it picks up right after the second one, which I really enjoyed. I didn't like the first one all that much. I played it, and at the end, the story got me hooked to play the second one. So I've only played, well, a little bit of it, and I've liked what I've played so far. So I would say there's a lot of days where I'm like, man, I really want to play more of that. And then I get home and I'm just like, I want to like dedicate some time when I sit down with it.
Hmm.
So
You could if you weren't spending this time recording with me, maybe you can. Well, it comes down to choices when you get really creative, and you could just pick one night a week. Give yourself an hour of Assassin's Creed time.
yeah, I was thinking of going along that line, along the lines of gaming.
Hmm.
I finally got what I needed to hook my Xbox up.
Oh,
Yeah,
hooray!
yeah, to my because as well, I guess a couple months ago I moved, and there's only wire, like I can't wire connect to anything here, and I don't have a TV anymore. I just have my computer monitor, so I had to get the thing to hook it up to my monitor, and then I had to learn how to route the wireless through my computer, so I didn't have to buy one of the $100 adapters. So I popped that in, and part of my 3 hours in the last 2 months was checking out what Halo was like to play on my monitor and stuff
So
like that.
is it just going to your computer monitor, or do you actually have a feed that's going through your computer?
Okay, so it's just going to my computer monitor, but then like the wireless, like you have to buy an official Microsoft wireless adapter, and they're $100. They're not cheap. Like this is just a
Why do they
this,
do it? Well, they could just make it work with a, but no.
yeah, exactly. Because I have a wireless stick that I use for my computer, and it just doesn't work. And I looked it up, and it has to be a Microsoft one. So there is a way to make your computer act as a bridge. So my Xbox is Ethernet wired into my computer, and then the wireless stick is attached to my computer. So my Xbox thinks it's plugged directly into a router, but it's actually pulling the internet wirelessly through my computer. So the downside is my I know the downside is my computer has to be turned on, but I mean it's no big deal. I'm sitting right here. So
As I thrum my fingers together, you are just a few steps away from getting yourself a Y-split cable and being able to record your Halo play. Just
I don't know. I don't know if I have the right inputs on my computer. I have to check.
It would require a little bit more updating, but
Yeah.
we'll
I
talk
thought
about
about
that
it.
sometime. I should consider it, perhaps, if you
Yeah.
wanted to. Maybe that would give you, because then you could continue your social networking ways and then still be able to play a video game at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I do like that my monitor has three inputs though, so I could even hook something else up to it if I
You
wanted
just
to.
switch between the channels.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, um, just a little tidbit. I got a pretty sweet Spider-Man statue as a extremely late but extremely awesome a birthday gift. I
Oh,
just sent you a link to that, but
yay.
it's pretty much completely badass,
Yeah.
and I love Spider-Man. It also came with a lizard statue. It came with like the 3D Blu-ray, and it was on like extreme sale or whatever. And my friend was like, "I'll come get you this because I didn't get you a birthday gift," and I was like, "Yeah." So anyway, and then things I've been watching. I've been watching the Justice League, the old cartoon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's not like amazing or anything, but I'm a completionist, so once I started it,
Yeah, you gotta finish it.
yeah.
Gotta do it.
I don't think we talked about Blood and Chrome, did we? I don't think we did.
No, talk about Blood and Chrome. Well, you did, well, maybe once upon a time. Are you still doing that then?
Well, I mean, it's just a movie, and Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. I watched it. It was a web series that they released on DVD. I have everything else. I bought it just because I have everything else, and it's actually really good. Like I was really happy with the way it turned out. It's about Adama when he was much younger, like when he first joined the fleet or
Hmm.
whatever. Are you a BSG fan? I forget.
Oh, I'm familiar with it, but I didn't finish it, no.
Oh, so good.
It might be really, really good, but I actually got to this point, and I forget when I finally did get to this point. All the bad things, everything was a bad thing. I'm like, oh, it's killing me. This show is killing me. And then I got really, really angry at Starbuck for something. And I was like, that's it. I'm taking a break, and then I just didn't go back to it. One day I think
Yeah,
mad at one of the characters. I'm like, you.
yeah,
And I don't know what she did. She did something, something that character would do, I'm sure.
yeah. It's one of those shows that, like, when you step away from, it's hard to go back into.
I could try again. I mean, I got all sorts of things that I could, like, I've been, right now, everybody is on me to watch Game of Thrones so bad. I'm like, I will watch it, I promise.
Yeah, I haven't started that yet. I've been holding back.
See? Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can trade off if we somehow unify together with all the time that we have and
Yeah. Yeah.
watch all these shows. Oh,
Well, going back to my not spending time playing video games, but keeping up with things.
mm-hmm.
I watched this YouTube show called Up at Noon,
Oh,
and it's like The Daily Show,
hmm.
but it's video game news. IGN does it. It's
Oh,
on their Start network.
that's pretty great. That's actually pretty clever.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, like, it's really stupid humor, which I think makes it funny because they kind of make fun of themselves for being so dumb. But it's also presented in a very like uh, good way. Like it's expertly filmed,
It's
produced, I
still
should say.
informative. But
Yeah.
funny. Oh, that's
So they do.
good.
Yeah, they do like the opening monologue is like, funny news, or they make fun of stuff, and then they actually interview a legitimate person in the business or something, and and usually the interviews are pretty funny too because the guy jokes around with them or whatever. So if you like keeping up with your gaming news, that's a great way to do it. It's a show that goes up every Monday.
Okay.
And the last thing on my list,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
is Strip Search.
What is
Oh
search?
my gosh, I know, right?
Tell
What
me.
is Strip Search?
Yes, what is it?
It's so hard to tell people about it because they immediately think like, I'm like, oh, I've been watching Strip Search, and they're like, okay, why are you talking about your porn addiction? You know what I mean?
Oh, oh,
it's
oh.
like it's like no, that's not what I'm talking about. Um, but are you familiar with Penny Arcade?
Yep.
Okay, so the Penny Arcade guys had a Kickstarter to do a reality show, and the reality show is called Strip Search, and it's about finding the next best comic strip.
Oh,
Yeah,
that makes so much more sense.
yeah, yeah. It
Uh,
is amazing. Like if you like art, if you like comics, whatever, it's the most like real reality show I've seen. People are not against each other in this. Like they're all really friendly. They all work together to get things done. Challenges are fun. Like I've never been addicted to a reality show, but I'm totally addicted to this show. Like, and I want to talk about it with people. And so I have some friends that do webcomics, and I ran into him, and this is when I realized I was addicted. I ran into my friend that does a webcomic, and he had another webcomic artist visiting him that day, and I had never met, and the three of us wound up talking about this show and about how amazing it was and how they were going to go home and try and do the artist challenges with another web artist who was driving in from Virginia, and the three of them were going to spend the day doing the challenges that were on the show to see if they were up to them artistically. And that was when I was like, oh man, I get this is a reality show that just like totally fits me.
that sounds yeah. You have a lot of things here that I'm gonna have to. What are you doing to my time? What are you doing? You're just adding more things into my day. I have to do this too. I'll definitely check that out. And sounds like it would be something that I would love. And I know there are some people who listen to this show that should also check that out. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink to those people. They know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
So
Well, they put up 2 episodes a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. So Tuesday and Friday, they're down to the final. The one that goes up tomorrow is an elimination show, and after that, they're down to the final 4. And I think they started with 12 or something.
So quite a bit
So
to catch up on, or at least go back and view.
yeah,
Very good.
yeah. I will say this: the first couple episodes are a little slower because it's like icebreaker things that they're all doing to get to know each other, but hang in it to the first elimination, which is like the third episode or whatever, and it's totally worth your time. So,
Okay. All right. I'll hold it.
Elaine.
Way better than King of the Nerds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Now, have you been nerding out?
I do nerd out. It is a state of being, even when I am busy, which is those who have been wondering if we both died, or specifically if I died. You know, that's the internet. If you don't breathe for a day, people are like, "Where did you go?" Things, they happen. Anyway, absolutely, I've been nerding out. So my list is not as long as your list, but I will talk about a few things. Um, as you already know, but I'll go ahead and indulge a little bit so people can understand. But I had a back injury, and so I needed to lay down a lot, which means I wasn't able to do a lot of gaming. But it does mean that I was able to watch a lot of Netflix. And so I watched, a lot of my favorite movies in general. But one specific series that I consumed rapidly was House of Cards, which is a Netflix original series. If you subscribe to Netflix, that's how you get to it. They're very smart. I think I enjoy this format. I enjoy this format where you get your season all at once. They don't parse them out when they release it. It's all there. They have a couple that are different Netflix only networky sort of TV shows. House of Cards is one of them, and right now I can't remember the name of the other one. Supernatural based though.
I just heard about this. I mean, like I had seen it on Netflix and not paid attention to it, but I just like it's just last week it started to pop up and everything. People are talking about House of Cards.
It's intense. It's really good, and I can't. Kevin Spacey is one of my favorite actors, and so seeing him as the protagonist, or as you watch the show, you're like, wait a minute, Kevin Spacey is the antagonist. He is this is not the story of a good man. This is not a good man, and it's all about the politics and the sex and the power struggles and the money struggles and just everything Washington politics. And so Kevin Spacey plays Underwood, and his wife, though the actress is out of my brain right now, is the same woman who played Princess Buttercup.
Oh.
But she's grown up more. So
What?
she's no longer Princess Buttercup, but she's still an amazing actress and a very good female lead. And I wish I could dive into this show and really talk about the meat of this show, but really it's 13 episodes long. I believe it's 13 or 16. Each episode is about an hour long, and it's great. So many great one-liners and just goodness, and it's all there, and go.
Does he talk to himself a lot or narrate what he's doing?
That is what he does. Even episode one of the very first scenes to get you used to it is okay, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this. One of the very first scenes of the very first episode, so I'm not really spoiling anything, but they get you really used to Francis is his name. Francis sees a dog that was hit by a car, and he literally goes up, and the neighbors, everybody comes up to the dog. Oh, poor dog. And, oh, you should go get some help, says Francis. And as soon as they leave, he kneels down and he chokes the dog to death. And while he's choking the dog to death, he looks up at the camera and he tells the audience why. He breaks the fourth wall and he talks to you. And so then you get really used, but this is what makes this show brilliant to me, is that he's the only character who does it. Everybody else nobody in this story breaks the fourth wall but him. And he's the only one who talks to the camera. You're the only one who gets to see into his mind, his inner dialogue, his inner workings, and it makes it just really good. So like he'll be going off onto giving somebody a speech or doing something to somebody, and then he'll stop and he'll look at the camera and he'll say this insane thing about what he's doing, and then he'll look back and the scene will continue, and of course they don't realize that he just talked to the audience. So
Uh,
it's very it's very cool.
yeah, I saw a College Humor spoof of it where the guy was like walking around doing like talking to himself, but everyone could hear him. And they
No.
were like, "Who are you? What are you doing? Who are you talking to?"
Well, they do it right in the scene, and it's pretty organic to the scene, except for you just know, or you get used to him doing it. And so by the time that you get to the end, you know that he's just gonna, every episode he's gonna break the fourth wall and talk to the audience and then go back to his own private mental journal, or you could think of it that way. It's not like he knows he's talking to the audience in character, but he's not actually talking to an audience. He's just talking to the audience. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's underhanded. It's politics. It's gritty. It's mean, and it's wonderful. And anybody who has Netflix should be watching
Did
it.
you finish it?
Yeah. I
Okay, is it?
consumed it. I was like, I don't know, just an hour after hour. I think I finished it in like 3 days. I was like, okay,
Wow.
here we
Is
go.
it so is it like is it done? Will there be another season or
Yeah, they've already probably filmed season 2. So
nice?
when they release it, everybody's gonna get season 2 all at once via Netflix. I'm like,
Wow.
this is great. I love this whole give me 12 episodes of something all at the same time. Because so when it comes out, I can have a party at my house and we can instantly all have a season 2 marathon of the same thing. And this is what I want TV to be honest. This is on demand. Don't parse it out. I'll pay for it. I will pay to have TV be this way. Obviously, I do with Netflix. So I'm hoping that this changes or helps encourage changing the format of how people get their, especially TV, episodic entertainment. I think it's a really good change. I'm looking forward to that
Yeah, I agree. I
coming.
agree.
And of course, moving on, I did go see Iron Man 3, and we already talked about it. It's amazing. So go see that. Um, other than being injured and that forcing me away from the computer, and then simultaneously also busy. It was a busy time of year for me. I recently got to go to a nice little arcade. I took a vacation to Virginia Beach, and I
All
went to
right.
the beach, and on the boardwalk. And you got to check out these boardwalk arcades if you get the chance. If you're taking a vacay and you're on a boardwalk somewhere, pop into the arcades. Um, and my hubby and I, we this is, of course, this is how nerds and geeks, I guess. This is what we do. We go to the beach to go to the arcade. But there was this gem of an arcade. We walked in, and all these retro arcade machines. It was like Christmas. It was. I walked in and I saw refurbished and well taken care of Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers and all the Pac-Mans and just it was just we just spent so many hours there. I mean, like it's weird from a nostalgic retro gaming kind of thing, which is definitely one of my things. To spend money to play Super Mario Brothers on an arcade machine was it was fun for me, but it also made the game harder because you're using a joystick and it was weird. It was because I got so used to playing that game on my Nintendo that going back to the arcade machine, I was no good at it. I couldn't do it. Um, and then of course the Pac-Mans and everything. But from that arcade, one game that really stood out that I adored was the Lord of the Rings pinball machine. Pinball.
Ooh.
Big pinball fan. Love pinball. And not all pinball machines are created equal. This is true. Like, you walk up to a pinball machine and you play and you feel cheated sometimes. Well, that's because you are. Usually, if a pinball machine has a poor design on the board or really hard drains or maybe they set it to be really hard, generally it's a good rule of thumb that if you feel cheated on a pinball machine, you can try it again. Maybe you had a really bad day, you know. But if you still feel that way, especially after the second game, walk away. Go find yourself a better pinball machine. Just trust me on this one. So when we tried all the pinball machines, Actually, it was pretty sad. We walked in and one of our favorite pinball machines. This. I don't know if this indicates something to me and my husband could do, but one of our favorite pinball machines was there was Adam's Family, and he saw it and he ran up. He's just like, me first, dibs, dibs, dibs. He runs up and he stands up in front of the machine, and then he sees the out of order sign, and it looked like I taken a lollipop from. He just was, So then we were really happy when we started playing Lord of the Rings. That is a great board, and that's why I'm talking about this. If you see a Lord of the Rings pinball machine, you get your quarters out and you go play it. Hopefully it's in good working order. It was manufactured in 2003 and they stopped making it in 2009, but it's all three of the Lord of the Rings movies combined into the machine so that when you play it, you can activate different aspects of the entire story. So you can start out by collecting the Fellowship, and then if you do that, we'll start a Fellowship of the Ring multi-ball, or you can have Gollum, or you can start Return of the King. I mean, it's just, or you can smash the Baelor, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and the machine itself is really good at rewarding you for doing a good job. I mean, like a good pinball machine will give you feedback, make you feel good about your skill shots and all sorts of things, and so this particular board, if you're still following along with me in this total geek out I'm having right now, has a lot of skill shots. It has like 4 or 5 different loops on it. So like depending on which loop you're aiming for and what order you hit them will change the mode. It has a big old ring in the center of it that you got the center ramp. You hit the ball, it goes up the center ramp and it goes straight into the back of the machine. But it's the one ring, and that of course activates all sorts of stuff. So um, it's just a really good board. So like if you can fix it in your mind, like when you're walking around and you find yourself walking into, I don't know, your favorite pub because your buddies dragged you out, and you look in the corner and you realize that this pub has this one pinball machine and that pinball machine is Lord of the Rings. You got to go get $1 or something and get some quarters and go play that thing. It's an amazing board. It's really good. Um, it is our dream one day to own a pinball machine, and at this rate, we're probably going to be owning 2 of them because we always agreed. My husband and I, we say, well, we're going to own an Addams Family pinball machine. We're going to get it. Of course, then when you say that, these things are like $3,000 to $4,000. So it's like,
Yeah.
so to have a pinball machine in your house, and then what do? You have to also know how to maintain it. So it's like it's not a cheap purchase. It's actually completely impractical, but we really want one. We just play pinball all the time. But now it has a contender. We didn't think that it would have a contender.
I'm
Wasn't
looking up
expecting
I'm looking up pictures of this thing. It looks pretty amazing.
like maybe I should put some links to some. I mean, after I came back, I'm like, oh man, I gotta know about all the modes. I gotta figure this thing out. That's the thing about pinball, is that if you understand the game objectives, it goes from chaos, which is maybe what most people, when they walk up to a pinball machine, they know they're gonna stick their quarter in and they're gonna just do good to hit the thing around. You know, like when it comes back around, I'm going to try to time it. I'm going to hit it back up into the board. And that's a great way to play. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you understand a pinball machine and what the goals are for it, it really kind of changes the perspective of the game. And one thing that I like about pinball machines is that it really is a game that requires the machine. Like, yeah, when you walk into an arcade, anymore, you realize that all these games are dated most of the time because arcade games, unless you're walking into a Dave and Buster's, which I don't know. Do you know what a Dave and Buster's is?
Yeah, we have one in Philly.
For those of you who don't know what a Dave and Buster's is, it's basically a bar plus a restaurant plus an arcade aimed at adults.
Yeah.
Though kids go in there all the time too. But supposedly most Dave and Buster's are supposed to kick the kids out at 10 or something like that, and then it becomes an adult full-time big kid arcade sort of thing. And you go to Dave and Buster's, and any more of the new games are usually ticket-based or trivia-based or really quick play games that are shorter than old arcade games. I mean, they are hard, and you can't really get any gameplay out of them because they're supposed to kick you through. You don't even really get the coin experience anymore. They do cards, and then they try to get your mind off of how much you're actually spending on each game. Maybe this is Elaine saying that she's not really a big fan of the direction of the modern arcade, so to speak. But you walk into these, retro arcades, and then you do get that experience, but then you also kind of realize that all these games are really dated and you can play them at home, and you kind of lose something there. But a pinball machine requires everything that it is in order to play it. And so I feel like it contains something really special to me. The whole pinball machine, the whole pinball era. Oh well. Anyway, there's my
Yeah.
geek out. I love Lord of the Rings. I love pinball. Also, I gotta mention one of the hardest games ever, and I forgot how hard this game is. Did you ever play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like the Super Nintendo one or
No, I mean the
the arcade
arcade
one?
game where you had the four turtles and everybody.
Yeah.
It's and you it was like Double Dragon but with turtles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that game, that game, uh, just so hard.
It is.
You have two buttons. You have attack and jump. And then if you jump and then attack, you'll do a kick across the screen. If you hit jump and attack at the same time, you'll do a super move. That's it. That's all you got. And then you have your up, down, left, right diagonals and stuff like that. And you play this game, and all the ninjas come out. The foots, they come out, they're trying to get you. And then the game doesn't tell you where they're going to come from. So you could be walking along and a billboard will fall on your head. It's like, oh, billboard, you weren't supposed to be doing anything. You were just part of the background. No, it's on your head. And then the it was so 80s it hurt, and it was wonderful all at the same time. And playing it, these games, they don't make them like this anymore. Anyway, of course, then the whole point is you get to the villain, and no matter what, if you attack the villain automatically gets a hit back in on you. It's almost impossible
Yeah.
to not get hit and hurt by these villains.
You like need somebody to play with you in order to succeed in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You need more players than just yourself to get anywhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or you're going to feed it a bunch of quarters,
Yeah.
Which, at least with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game, they were nice. They start you out with 8 lives. And you're like, yeah, I got 8 lives. I might make it to the end of the first level.
Yep.
You just go run through it. Hard game. Loved playing it again. Really, really hard. Well, other than that, I've been going back through Myst. Just experiencing that. Myst could be its own show, frankly. It's its own universe. It's really beautiful stuff, though. I'm still amazed at what they did with that for the era that they did that. Because Myst, I don't know the date of Myst, but it was the 90s. Wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
95?
Dude, well, no. Well, yeah, because it was like, I think I played Myst on like Windows 3.1, or maybe it was 95. But it was like early Windows was running Myst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point and click adventure, but still, I mean, just what they did for the genre. You can go back and appreciate them too. The only other game I really have gotten the chance to play, other than my norms, I play a little bit of Star Wars every now and then, the MMO still. And I play Magic the Gathering online as well as the card game in person with my friends. But I also got a lot of time in on Monster Loves You. I think I mentioned it in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a Let's Play with Hannah from Yogscast on that.
Oh, did she? Good.
Yeah.
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 So this game is an indie game. It's really affordable. It was gifted to me via Steam by Fred. My friend Fred gave that to me. By the way, David, I still haven't had a chance to play Don't Starve, but I'm hoping. Oh, no, my heart, it breaks. It's not because I don't want to. But as things clear up and the summer comes along, and if I get to build up a little bit more endurance, I'm hoping to do Don't Starve. So Monster Loves You, back to this, is
Yeah.
basically a choose your own adventure book. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And it's cute. And it's from the role of the monster. And if you play it enough times, eventually you'll learn all the scenarios. And then really the only thing that gives it replayability after that is the badges that you can get and like all the different endings and what kind of monster can I build. But for an indie game, it's really very, very cute. I think they could have expanded on it a little bit, but it's enjoyable for what it is. And I would say that if anybody likes a choose your own adventure book, go ahead and do this. It's fun. Like,
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, I think it gave me at least 4 to 5 hours of gameplay in total so far. And I've only been through the game maybe 5 times, you know? So it doesn't actually to go through one lifespan, because that's what you start out in the slime vat. And you grow up and you're like a little baby monster, and then you gotta figure out what kind of monster you are. And then you grow up into an adult monster, and depending on how you do well as an adult, you either turn back into slime at that point, or you get to be an elder monster, which has its own separate gameplay beyond that. And it's all choose your own adventure. A lot of fun. So that's basically it. I mean, it's not a lot of items. You can tell what I'm passionate about, probably pinball. So
That pinball looks freaking amazing.
it
So
is. It is,
yeah.
and we weren't even playing on a working board. We were playing on a busted board, and we still loved it.
Wow.
Not all the lights came on, so it was really hard for us to tell where we were supposed to shoot, and we just figured it out. And we was like, let's just keep playing. They'll love all these ramps, and I like all the noises that it's making. Gandalf is telling me things, and it sounds urgent, so I better do this. They used voice acting from the movies. They had a lot of great. Most pinball games, have the display board. It's just two-tone business, but it was a lot of fun things on there. So.
Well, going back to Myst,
Mm-hmm.
it came out September 24th, 1993, so it turns 20 this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Myst is all grown up.
I know. Next year, you can get it its first beer.
Myst could be going to college.
That's true. Get its learn on.
Get
For sure.
Or a scarier way of thinking is that there's currently kids, quote unquote, young adults going to college who have never lived a life without it.
Oh wow, that is weird. It was so groundbreaking at the time.
It is. It came on CDs, didn't it?
Yeah.
Came on
yeah.
these do you remember the Myst game coming on 7 CDs, and every time you went to another world you had to put it in another.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember having to go to DOS to boot it up.
Yeah.
And it's just I used to play computer games with my friend, and it's it was all basically retro game kind of style games that were on computers then. There weren't a lot of high graphic, at least that I
There
saw.
was nothing like it. No.
Yeah.
There was no.
It was like looking at a painting back then.
I remember seeing it for the first time, what is that?
Yeah.
It's so pretty. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing compared to it, competing at that time, would have been the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally different, worlds. But
Sierra
anyway.
could have been doing the market, I suppose, because the Sierra games were already going on. In fact, that was probably, I don't know if Sierra was losing its heyday by the 90s.
Yeah.
It went through a golden age, and then it just died. Anyway.
Did you play the other Myst games?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going through right now. I Myst 1 and 2, Riven, I should say. And right now I'm kind of re-experiencing the third one.
Yeah, so I think I played the second or third Myst.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I played either of them the whole way through. Maybe Myst 2, possibly. But that's so long ago, I really don't remember. And it wasn't for lack of the fact that they were continuing to be good, as much as it just was competition caught up with bigger and flashier things to play.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't play them.
It's CD-ROM. In fact, I think Myst is what actually really one of the first games that, with the whole CD-ROM business in general, kind of proved what you can do with it. I think I remember reading up on this in truth about how Myst and how it interacted with the CD-ROM, and how that really kind of pushed the gaming market in general, especially on the PC. So.
Yeah. Well, let's look to the future, Elaine.
Oh, yes.
And what kind of things are you nerding out about that haven't happened yet?
Ender's Game.
Yeah, that trailer looks pretty amazing.
Harrison Ford.
Have you read the book?
Yes. Have I read the book? Yes.
I should say.
Everything about that whole world. Orson Scott Card he wrote Ender's Game, and then he wrote all about. There's 3 books after that about Andrew Wiggins' adventures. Spoiler, he doesn't die. So, but then just this crazy universe that he is the speaker of the dead for, not. I guess if you ever read the books, you'll understand what that term means. It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't mean what it sounds like. So, um, and then he went back and he also wrote another trilogy about Bean, who's one of the characters in Ender's game. So there's Ender, and then there's his base, like his right hand man, Bean. Um, and so there's a whole trilogy about him and what happens to him when he goes back to Earth. After that, I mean, they're kids in this movie, so I'm just
Yeah.
really super excited about this movie.
It looks pretty amazing.
I can't wait to see the World Room. I can't wait to see. They're gonna be flying around in with space, and they're gonna be playing war games. It's gonna be
I know
awesome.
nothing about it, so
Summary:
there you go. I will.
Brilliant children go to military school in space.
Well, I knew that much. I have two friends that are like really into it, and they're so into it to the point where I'm like, I will enjoy this probably if I read it, but you're too into it for me to want to care.
Will you go see the movie? Will you go see it?
I will see the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to read the books. It's okay. You could just go see the movie and enjoy that. I think that's fair because, that's practically what I've done with Spider-Man and everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I think it's fair, and I think it's kind of funny that in a turnabout way, this will work for you. I
Yeah.
have high hopes.
Anything else on your radar?
The Last of Us.
I have to say, you are really excited for this game.
I am. I'm super excited for this game. Can dude, can you tell how excited I am about things depending on my intonation when I'm like, I love this thing. I gotta go get it now. The Last of Us has been pushed off, and they keep saying, "Oh, it's gonna come out." And when's the last time I talked about this? Didn't I think I was gonna get it like in January? Like,
Yeah.
The Last of Us. Can I have my game now, please? Can I have my game now? I ordered it Amazon eons ago, and eventually it's just gonna show up on my doorstep. And I know this. When this day comes, I will disappear from the internets again. I'll claim some sort of other injury, right? I'll be like, I broke my arm. I cannot possibly type or do any sort of internets at all. Goodbye. Actually, I'll just say it's The Last of Us.
Everyone
I'll tell
will
you the truth.
understand.
Yeah, everybody will know. They're like, she's fighting zombies in a post-apocalyptic future of beauty and ruin. Yes.
I have to say, I mean, the game looks amazing.
Yes. Naughty
And
Dog.
then-
Naughty
yeah,
Dog.
Naughty Dog. And then I saw an interview this week on Up at Noon with the one girl. May or may not have fallen in love. Who knows? She's definitely in love with me, though. We'll just say that.
Oh,
And
I want invites to the wedding.
okay, I'll make sure.
Okay.
And I was like, man, she just really sells it. Just her personality, talking about whatever it is she talks about. It was funny though, because like her, the voice actor Dave Fennoy, I don't know if he's in The Last of Us or not. I can't remember, but he's in a lot of games, and he gave like a mug from his website with a picture of him to the host when he was on, and the guy always drinks out of it. So she brought a mug for him that was a picture of her. She used to be a baby model. It's her, like just in a diaper, being held by some random shirtless man in jeans, and that's the picture on the mug. And then like Dave Fennoy's like had like his information in his website on the back, and she doesn't have a website, so it's got like this. It has her name, and she purposely misspelled the host's name on the mug, and then it has her like 80 character IMDb address on the back of it. It was funny. Yeah. Then like a bunch of interviews later, somebody's like, "What is that on your cup?" And he's like, "Well, it's so and so with as a baby with no shirt on with a shirtless man."
That's amazing. It's wonderful that she did that. That's a great move.
Yeah. It really is. It really is.
What do you look forward to in the future?
Okay, so immediate future, Man of Steel.
Oh, Superman.
Yeah. Now, I think that you kind of know, but our audience might not know that for me to be excited for Superman, means that it's going to be good because I don't get excited by Superman. I don't like Superman.
You need to have the proper intonation, inflection for the audience to understand how excited you are for Man
Yeah,
of Steel.
yeah. Man of Steel looks amazing.
It's
Okay,
amazing.
especially the like last three trailers have just been like balls to the walls, awesome. I just can't even like it was. Man, the music, the Zack Snyder-ness
Mhm.
of it. Like, if I'm disappointed in this movie, I will be disappointed in a lot of things.
Was it Iron
But
Man? There was a Man of Steel trailer in Iron Man. It had to have been because I just remember him walking out of the ice and him that with the showing him jumping up into space and flying. Just really great stuff. Really good effects. Looks really awesome.
yeah, oh,
Yes, it's gonna
so
happen.
excited.
When does it come out? When does Man of Steel come out?
Like next month, I think, a
All
couple
right,
weeks.
before
So,
Ender's Game. Yeah, I have to wait until November.
oh my gosh, it's
Yeah, no,
forever.
it's forever. Thanksgiving. Ugh.
Ugh. Yeah, it's like November 22nd, isn't it? Something like that.
It's
I
like
don't know.
it's either that or the 11th or something like that. The thing is that the movie studios just need to realize how impatient I am and just kind of push that stuff out.
Why don't they base things around you? That's what I've been asking
I,
myself for
it's
like ever.
the world would be so much better. It would
I
be
know.
amazingly better.
It really,
Just
it really
come to my beck and call, and everybody would have The Last of Us and pinball machines. I see nothing wrong with this.
would. This is something that I put on my looking forward to, and it's really weird. I used to be really, really passionately looking forward to it,
Hmm.
and I think at one point the hype just made me numb. Now, once it happens, I'm sure I'll be extremely excited. Whether or not I devour it right away or if I wait a little bit, I don't know because I'm I really wanted to watch through the series again, and I am talking about Development.
Okay.
Next week, the fourth season hits Netflix. It's it like a House of Cards.
Mhm.
It's like a Netflix made series. Um, the fourth season because it was on three seasons and it got canceled like a million years ago.
Mhm.
But it was like it's legitimately the funniest show I've ever seen. Um, and my problem is I really wanted to watch through it again before the new season came out or in time for it. But I just have, just like with books, I have trouble watching more than one show at a time. Um, or more like if I'm watching a half hour show, like that's the only half hour show I'll watch. And then if I watch an hour long show, it's the only hour long show I'll watch. So this way, depending on what type of time I have, depends on what show I watch.
Mhm.
Since I'm currently watching Justice League, I need to go through that. So even if I started, I know. Yeah. Even if I started Arrested Development like tonight, I don't think that I'd be able to watch all three. I know I wouldn't be able to watch all three seasons by the time the new one comes out.
I would say that that would cause quite a conundrum in your life. Yes.
Yeah. So I am excited for this. I will be more excited once it's out, but I will also be mixed with a little bit of irritation of people talking about it because I'm a tad bit of a hipster with Arrested Development. So
Oh, but it's just la la la. Doesn't matter.
I know.
Don't
Oh,
be don't be a hipster. It's all right.
and another thing that my friend Chris told me about is they're making a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2.
What?
I know. I don't.
I don't know if Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon necessarily deserves a sequel.
Yeah, I don't. And I was like, oh no way. I was like, is Ang Lee attached? And he's like, no, some guy who did something else. And I was like, oh,
But it may
I
be
don't know.
good. It
Like,
may be really good. You know what's funny about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is that I feel like it was a really beautiful movie and it kind of kicked off sort of a more American sense of what these movies can be like. But why are they making a second? They could just make another movie like it. They don't have to
yeah,
make a second
yeah.
one.
And they made, and then they like after that they had House of Flying Daggers, which I really
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Yeah, that one was really good. I also really, though it doesn't do as much fantastic things as The House of Flying Daggers, which just gorgeous. That movie is just
Yeah.
fantastically gorgeous. Um, but what a Curse of the Golden Flower.
Yeah, that's movies. There's, they painted that as being like a really like going to be action packed, but it's not.
Not.
But it's so pretty,
It is
so
really
pretty.
super pretty, and the plot is mind bendy. I mean,
Yeah,
like the whole. I'm gonna sum it up. It's good to be the king at the end.
yeah.
Like so. But everything that it takes to get to that point, it's just and then when you get to the end of the movie, you're just like, what are you trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Like, what's the moral of this movie? But it's so pretty.
Have
Anyway,
you seen Hero?
yes.
Oh my gosh, that movie is so
Apparently, we
pretty.
need to geek out about some kung fu-y
I
sort of
know.
like.
It's amazing. Yeah, we'll have to put that on the list because I love Hero is so amazing. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I definitely will keep an eye on it.
You know what? I would go to it. I don't understand why they're making a sequel, but based
Yeah.
off of how these other movies have gone, maybe it's been long enough. I mean, it's been 10
It's
years.
10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can't be bad. That's long enough for somebody else to come along and actually pay attention to it and not shove money at it and work it through just to get a sequel out. So
Right.
that can't be why they're making it.
So my best friend Chris and I was one of the first. Not. I mean, like I don't know if it wasn't the first, but one of the first like defining moments of our friendship was we became friends. Like he was a senior, I was a junior, and we went to a really small school. My graduating class was 55,
Hmm.
right, and mine was the biggest class to go through the school at the time. So that just gives you an idea of how small our school was.
Everybody knew everybody. It's like
Yeah,
two classrooms.
everybody knew everybody, and somehow up until this point, he and I just like didn't really know each other. Like I knew his name, but didn't. But I mean, a little before that, we became friends. This movie came out, and we're like, oh, let's go see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Now, this is before people at school picked up that we were friends
Hmm.
because everyone knew everyone, so it wasn't uncommon to see everyone talking. But like everyone kind of knew whose friends were whose kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like we all got along. But anyway,
Hmm.
so people didn't know that we were hanging out yet. We went to see this movie. We loved it, and then like nobody was seeing it in like that we knew. We were just talking it up to each other and everything. And then we were at like Hot Topic, I think a little bit after, and they had Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon shirts.
Hmm.
So we bought them and we wore them, and we're like, let's wear them. So we wore them on the same day, and we weren't at this point we hadn't realized that people didn't realize that we were like hanging out all the time, like basically every day, because and people were like, oh, do you know that? Do you know Chris Hall? And like, I was like, yeah. And they're like, he's wearing that. He has the same shirt. and, and then so like both of us like not talking to each other, we're getting the same thing from people, and without talking to each other, we both decided to play up like we didn't know the other person. Chris who? Like, yeah, he's got the same shirt. You should go talk to him. Maybe walking down the hall and be like, whoa, you got that
Whoa.
shirt? Yeah, people were like, you guys didn't plan this? We were like, no, we don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, those
That happened
people.
like 3 or 4 times before people realized it. Like,
That you guys were pulling their leg.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Bonding.
I know, right?
Good. Very good.
Don't ever tell him that.
Okay, I won't. Does he listen to our show?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Shh. Don't listen. You didn't hear any of that.
Whenever, like we have a thing where we kind of like rag on each other all the time. That's kind of how our friendship is. And whenever like we give each other encouragement, we're just like, don't ever tell anyone I said that. And like whenever I give him something, he's like, oh, thanks, buddy. And I'm like, just put that in the book you're writing. Lies people told me.
Oh man. Hmm. Oh, I guess that wraps up our show. I think one thing that we should talk about briefly before our pick of the week is
Yeah,
we're going to try to go to a bi-weekly format. I
yeah,
hope this works out for it because a lot of what happened, especially during the radio silence, was just scheduling.
yeah,
So we talked about it and we picked a day, and we're gonna really try for this bi-weekly and every 2 weeks. We also might move. You might notice that I didn't say something along the lines of "No, it's time for our main segment." We're gonna still talk about issues probably whenever we get to them basically, and they're
Yeah.
going to be there. Maybe an Aficionerdo special, and it's going to just kind of not be the regular bi-weekly show. So format-wise, what you can expect in the future from our shows is for us to talk about current things that we've encountered, just the general there's and here's and twos of
Yeah.
being a nerd and a geek, and just basically what you just listened to.
Yeah, and definitely interact in the comments because I mean we'll talk about it.
Hmm.
That's really cool. I love the community that we have
Yeah,
that interacts with us. Some really great people. I love to talk to you through the comments, and
yeah.
generally, if I talk to you, I'm probably going to want to talk about it on the show. So
I know that we read everything and we respond. Definitely we respond. And so we still want to know questions. We still want to know if something was interesting to you. We're talking about it. It is conversation. We're basically recording a phone call, but in the end, I'm hoping that it's still entertaining and useful to our listeners. So give us some feedback and let us know how you feel about the new format, and
yeah,
we'll definitely take that into account. But expect us back here, and is it 2 weeks from now?
yeah, I think it's 2 weeks from now,
Yeah, it's
well,
about,
something like that.
yeah. And
We'll
so,
be back.
yeah. Yeah, we're not giving up. We're just trying to figure out our scheduling, and then we're going to rock and roll this. So basically, and of course none of this will mean anything if you're listening to this 2 years from now. So just disregard that. Um Pick of the week. What's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is I could have picked like a million things in our span of time. I was like, oh, this is my pick of the week next time, next time. And I probably would have picked Strip Search like 40 different times
Yeah.
over the span if we would have been doing. But I just went with something I discovered today, and it made me laugh enough to share it with people. And I've listened to it like 40 times because it's also a good song. So the Gregory brothers put out a new song this week for YouTube Comedy Week called "Play My Song," and then the underscore or like subtitle is "No, Leave Me Alone." And it's basically like a dance song about someone bugging the DJ to play their song and how the DJ is like, no, like I can't. I'm not. And the girl's like, turn it up, DJ. He's like, no, it's at like the legal limit of how loud I can turn it up right now. And then she like follows him after he's done DJing. And she comes in. He's like, play my song, DJ. He's like, I'm not a DJ when I'm in the office. You're gonna get me fired. What are you doing here? So it's pretty
Nice.
funny. It's pretty
Anything
funny.
by the Gregory Butters, anything by Dems, anything by the Gregory brothers is usually pretty good. I'm just dropping things.
And it's totally original. It's not like a parody of anything or anything like that. Like it's
They do their own song.
yeah, their own song.
Good. They're
How
talented.
about you? What's your pick?
Hey, more music. Because it's
Yeah.
a music kind of week, guys. So with all that retro gaming, a lot of my friends already know about this song because I couldn't keep it to myself, but now I want to release it to the internet on a whole, and I've been keeping it in. But here it is. It's going to be the Zelda remix by Zedd, and definitely go click on that link and enjoy 6 solid minutes of Zelda remix goodness.
It's pretty badass.
It's amazing. It makes me want to go adventure. Like, I'll play that in the morning when I'm going to work, and I feel like I can take on dragons. Like, oh, I'm gonna, because it helps because it's Zelda, and Zelda has a really catchy tune. Anyway,
Yeah.
but then you take Zedd is a really talented artist, and so he took this song as these talented people do, and he house mixed that up, and then he put some dub step dirt in it somewhere towards the back end. But it's not that simple. It's actually a really ingenious build up, so that by the time that you get to the end, you're jamming, you're on the adventure, and you just so like if you go and you look in the links of this song, some people are like, I made a mistake listening to this while I was doing homework, but then I ended up dancing. And it's true. It's just a really upbeat, exciting song, and it's only 6 minutes, so go cheer yourself up and go listen to some Zelda. It's
You sent
awesome.
it to me, and then I shared it with like all my Zelda friends,
It's
and they were all like,
infectious.
"What?"
Dun, 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 dun. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And then I remembered, oh, I want to like, I know Zedd from somewhere. Looked it up, downloaded his album.
Yes, Clarity.
Yeah, yeah,
So
such a good
good.
album.
It is so good. I am Spotify. I clear. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Everything. And then you start a radio based off of Zed, and then you get nothing but gold. It's like
yeah.
the man is just a recipe for good music.
Probably, if you listen to pop radio, you probably have heard Clarity on at some point.
Clarity. Hmm.
Yeah, So,
definitely. And then there's Falling Down is also a really good one, and Shave It Up.
yeah.
Shave It Up.
Lost at Sea. Oh, that's my. I love it.
Oh,
Anyway.
man. Anyway, let's just talk about Zedd. Let's jam it out. Anyway, go check out that Zelda remix. It is bomb-tastic. It is just really good. You can tell that he's a fan. He just so good. Okay, that's it. That's all we got. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks. We miss you. We're gonna be back. Give us some comments.
Forget to write.
Yeah, we love you. Food rights. All right. Peace out for now. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.